It's like a double hat Tuesday over here.
You're backwards, I'm forwards.
Backwards and forwards. Do you so I'll do that. I'll turn my hat forward, and I feel like it shades me so much. Like, let me I'm can't even see me. Look, it's like super dark. This just looks weird. Could you imagine if I did the whole show like this, and like I was super like Mysterio, like the man behind the mask?
I'm just happy you're back to the MAGA hat, back to the Santino that I know.
Yeah, this is it, man. Trump 2020, Trump 2020. Are you drinking tea?
A lot's happened this last few weeks. I'm drinking tea.
What?
I'm a tea man now.
What? So, I mean, that's a thing. One doesn't just drink tea unless you're British. And last time I checked, you didn't have a limey accent. So, like, how did you go from? Usually, you're drinking an espresso, and now there's tea. Like, what's it about?
Well, it's been an interesting few weeks. Now, let's talk about last week for a minute. Sorry, guys. Sorry there was no show last week. I appreciate everybody who reached out to us and was like, hey, yo, where's the show? When are you guys dropping this? When are you releasing it? I'm not like a big guy on like mental health and like depression and stuff like that. I don't know if I've ever felt that, experienced that, or if I have and I just don't call it that or whatever it is. But last week, I think I was a little bit overwhelmed. And we were supposed to do the show, and I hit you up and I was like, hey, can we do the show tomorrow? And you're like, yes, no problem. And then tomorrow came around. You're going out with C-Rod. We got training. We got all this stuff. And I was like, I haven't heard from him. And I'm not going to reach out. And then we'll talk about it. And then it kind of one thing rolled to the next, and you're getting busy with C-Rod. And I was like, all right, no show this week. We'll be back. And we just got some stuff to focus on. So that was my little overwhelming week. And I think part of that, like, my sleep schedule for some reason has just been so off. And I realized like I'm drinking, not that coffee's really ever affected me, but I'm drinking such unreal amounts of coffee. So just as a little switch up, I switched it to tea, to decaf tea, to chamomile decaf tea. And I realized how much I love this. And so my kind of nightly routine, not nightly, but a couple times a week, I've been going to this coffee shop that stays open pretty late. I've been having my unlimited tea refills and then studying film there, just kind of a different environment. Hey, some people go out to bars, some people do this. I'm a grown man who goes and drinks tea by himself at night at a coffee shop.
I love it. You know what's funny is my wife, Kendall, she has been on me about my caffeine consumption recently. My caffeine consumption and my ibuprofen consumption. I consistently take for probably, 10 plus years, 800 milligrams of ibuprofen 2 to 3 times a day, almost every day, 365 for like 10 years. And I'll have to take I hate it because I'll have to take some time off because my stomach will get messed up. And so I'll have to take a couple weeks off, probably 3 times a year. I'll take it off for about 2-3 weeks and I go right back to it. But she's been on me about that. And she's been on me about my caffeine consumption, which like you, we know. We're drinking coffee till I usually drink I have an espresso machine at my house, as you know. So I drink 2 espresso or Americanos before I leave. And those generally have 3 shots in them each. And then I will generally drink another cup of coffee while I'm at the gym in the morning. And then I'll leave and I'll get a cup of coffee at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. That's kind of my last coffee of the night. And Kendall's like, stop. Because I'm like you, I don't sleep. Like I have the worst sleep ever. And she's like, well, you drink caffeine all damn day long. I still think she's wrong.
I do too.
But see, here's the thing though. So I was doing the tea thing for a while. I've stopped drinking caffeine late for a few weeks and my sleep didn't help at all. So I'm like, what? I may as well just keep drinking the caffeine because my sleep is going to be shitty anyway. So what does it matter?
Well, they say all caffeine does is stimulate your mind. It doesn't actually keep you awake or anything. It just stimulates your mind. And so I think part of the sleeping aspect is if you just can't stop your mind and you just keep thinking about too much, and that's what ends up keeping you awake in the long run.
But that's what happens anyway without the caffeine. Yeah. So, it doesn't, it doesn't turn off. I don't have a switch. So The mind is always going.
You and I are so analytical. We're thinking about 100 things, and especially if I have something big that I'm thinking about, not only am I going to bed late because I can't stop thinking about it, I wake up early because I'm thinking about it, and it just goes and goes and goes, and I'm like trying to take naps, but I can't stop thinking. I can't stop. I was thinking about this. It's like I've slept every single night for 26 years. And I still don't have this thing down yet. Like the fan's not right, the air conditioning's not right, the blankets aren't right. Some piece is missing, and I've done this. I've done sleeping more than I've done anything else ever in my life, like ever. Maybe then breathing, and even breathing I don't have sometimes.
And no, you're right. Every single night since we were born, we're doing this, and we can't figure it out. This is how bad we are at humaning, that this is where we're at. But
we had a couple things I want to point out. Sorry, just before we kick it into fight stuff, a couple things. So first, I've lost like 10 hats in the last week. Shows how, where my state of mind is. My hair is growing out. It's going crazy. I had this nasty facial hair. I at least trimmed it down just a little bit. I couldn't stand looking at myself. So at least I'm coming back to earth a little bit. Second thing, you can notice the jacket. I'm swagged.
Oh, I did notice. I was gonna mention that. That's a nice bomber.
Thanks. It's a Scotch and soda, and it's a little reversible too. So if I can't even do it, but it's got a nice inner lining too. Looks like Louis Vuitton. And then for you watch enthusiasts, I actually just picked this up last week. I've been looking for this watch for 2 years. I don't know, year and a half, 2 years. And there was a watch fair at the mall that we have at Scottsdale Fashion Square. And actually, it's funny. I saw Sugar Sean go into the bathroom, and he's wearing his hood and his sunglasses, and he's trying to be as low key as possible. Meanwhile, his pink cornrows are popping out. I just thought it was so funny. It was like, how can this guy be inconspicuous? Like, it's not going to happen. But I got this watch. It is it's a Tudor black base ceramic watch. It's not super expensive. It's not crazy in the pantheon of watches, but it's extremely rare. It's made of ceramic. It's so cool. I've been trying to find it forever. And so at the watch fair, they brought two. I snuck in on the first day, like 5 o'clock, and I got the last one that they had, and I'll probably never see it again. So just for that, I'm just like super pumped. Nice little collector edition.
Nice. I just collected. Here, let me show you what I collect. Hold on. UFC IDs. So I've got probably these are the credentials for UFC fights. What is this? Fight Island. There's a Fight Island one, and what is this? O2 Arena.
That's super cool.
I have like just like handfuls and handfuls and handfuls of these. But I collected another one of those this week with C-Rod when he collected an extra $50,000 bonus. So that was my weekend. That made my days. Christian Rodriguez, the nicest kid. You just like to see him do well. His opponent missed weight by 4 pounds. He didn't even
took short notice though. Give him a break.
Yeah. No, he didn't. We didn't even, I mean, we're like, yeah, whatever. His manager was like, well, how much are we going to allow? And this and that. And I said, just keep cutting weight. We'll deal with it when he makes whatever he makes. We'll talk about it. And they did. And, C-Rod was just like, dude, I just want to fight. And I was like, I know. We are going to fight, but you're not. We
just got to make him sweat a little bit more.
Yeah, he wanted to stop at 6 pounds out, so I was just like, nope, keep going. And then he ended up going just under 4 pounds, and I was like, and they're like, so what are you going to do? And C-Rod's manager called me and was like, hey, he's 3.7 out. What are we doing? And Shelby said, hey, you can try and rebook him. I said, no, we're not rebooking. We're taking the fight, but you got to make him sweat. You got to make him sweat. I'm not going to tell him what the lucky number is for them to reach. Like
it's negotiating, and we have all the leverage.
Exactly. Yep. So C-Rod.
Sorry, really quick. It was funny. Yeah. I was just going to say really quick with the weight thing. With my fight, when I fought my guy, he missed weight by 0.5 pound, and we were supposed to make championship weight. So, if this was a regular fight, non-title, he wouldn't have missed weight. And, just like you said, hey, we're going to take the fight no matter what. But when I showed up and he weighed in 0.5 pound over, I was like, hell no, he better get out there, start running. He better make this 0.5 pound, knowing we were already going to take the fight. We already got the leverage. C-Rod knew he was going to take the fight, knew, this kid was short notice, may or may not have been training. There was a reason for the miss, and it's just so much better to have that leverage. And like you said, you're not throwing your chips on the table. Here's the lucky number. No, you suffer until you can try to make the weight, and we're okay taking it either way, but we just want you to suffer that much more.
Yep. And he got his show money. He got his win money. He got a bonus. $50,000, performance bonus. Then he got some money from this guy's purse. So, but honestly, you see the setup? I mean, the finish, yeah, go for it.
Can I read something really quick? So this is really funny. So on Discord, actually, the day before, this says 1:11 in the morning. So on Discord, I was talking about the C-Rod fight, and I'm telling everybody, guys, I train with C-Rod every day. I know this kid's potential. I know how good he is. Like, just trust it. He's going to finish this guy. I know Weems really well too. So 1 in the morning, I posted this. Okay, I said, hey, I've never been subbed like that except for Santino. Weems will panic and shoot, and C-Rod will anaconda him. It was written. I'll come back to this. That's what I said the day before.
Nice.
What happened in the fight to a T. And that was like the least likely outcome for C-Rod was submission, right? And we called that by a mile. I said it's going to happen to an anaconda. I called it exactly.
I love it. He hits the guillotine sweep to the anaconda, which is my favorite thing these days. So that was I had a tear down my face for that. But
we were both tearing up watching this thing, man. I'm trying in the house trying to sell, and I'm like, oh.
I love it. And then, so C-Rod won, which was great. But later on in that card, we were talking about this. Dustin Jacoby won that fight. And not only here, I gotta qualify this. I was actually with C-Rod. We're eating pizza at the New York casino, watching that fight, and I had to get a flight back to Phoenix because it was an early fight. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go back home and see the fam. We're eating pizza, watching the Jacoby Roundtree fight. Round 1 and round 2, I go through. Jacoby made Roundtree miss 2012 times. I mean, he was like touching him up, and then Roundtree swings for the fences 27 times, looks like a cartoon, and then he touches him up. He swings, misses. I mean, this went on for 2 rounds, and I just walked upstairs after the second round. I was like, hey, I got to go, pack and get ready to leave. Because he won those 2 rounds. Didn't really matter what happened. So I go upstairs and pack and I do stuff. And I turn the fights back on. And I see that they're interviewing Roundtree. And I'm like, dude, he must have gotten a knockout. Like, there's no way. And then one of the judges gave, I think one of them might have given 30-27, but 2 of them clearly gave the fight to Roundtree. And there was a lot of weird stuff because the odds and this and that. And Jacoby won that freaking fight. We're starting to see a lot more weird judging calls that we don't even know what the hell they're doing. And right around this time, about a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we get a email from the UFC stating that we cannot bet on fights anymore. Like, I feel like there's something going on. I don't think the fighters are in on anything. I don't even know if the UFC is in on anything. The bookies are in on something. And I think part of it might be that they're feeding odds they're feeding odds live, and then the commentators are talking about the live odds, which are swaying people to put money down, and those odds may or may not be even real. The bookies get to advertise odds that could be fake to get people to slam money, to make money. There's something weird going on. What's your thought on that? Am I crazy over here? Well, I'm crazy, but am I crazy about this?
I mean, that's the second question. Well, if you're saying there's corruption, there's always corruption in every sport of all time ever. I mean, I just watched the NFL for a weekend, watched the NFL for 2 weeks. Even, what was it? A basketball game the other night? Like, it's pretty hard, I feel like, to do basketball like you could the NFL, but like, they set the line at like 7 points and the game ends at 7 points. How is that possible every single night? How are people this good at doing that? Right. So I think in MMA, like you said, probably not the fighters, maybe not always the fighters, although it has been done and it has been proven. Mm-hmm. And you see fights all the time where it looks fixed. I mean, you can watch a boxing fight and look how it looks fixed. Even the boxing fight this weekend, right? I was at the Jake Paul, Anderson Silva fight, and the co-main event right before that. Listen, I've been hit a lot. I've been training a long time. I've been hit a lot. I've been hit good a lot. And the kid is very talented. Don't get me wrong. Ashton Sylvie or whatever. He hit this guy with a check left hook. And it hit him like, not just like tip of the jaw, like it hit him kind of like square in the face. This guy fell over, right? And then he gets back up and the ref's starting to check on him, hit his 8 count, and he just falls over again. And I'm like, man, this guy's got like 25 fights. Like, it's not like he's like 0-6. He was like 20-5 or something like that. Like, not a crazy, not a bad record, nothing like this. And I'm like, this looks like the biggest fix ever. And when you have guys that are like this massive of favorites, now it comes down to like, how can we tweak this? Like, okay, now it's not his money line. We're going to bet on the first round, or we're going to bet under 3.5 rounds, or how can we fix this in the easiest possible way? And, there's something, obviously syndicate money or some bigger money that's beyond our play, that beyond what we know, whether it's the judging, whether it's the sports books, there's something up here. But I agree with you. The Jacoby decision was bad. Bellator the day before, this girl clearly lost all 3 rounds, and she got a 30-27 and won the fight. And it's like, where can we even go with this? It's making betting on UFC nearly impossible, because you can be right and choose the better fighter who wins every single round and still lose your bet.
Even in addition to that, they have in other sports. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see the commentators of the football game, mid-football game, saying what the betting lines are or have moved to during the football game to get people to bet on those moved lines mid-game. In MMA at the UFC, we're seeing that now. Mid-game, they're posting these lines, and they may or may not even be indicative of what's actually happening, but they might be fake lines that the books are getting to get people to throw money on, knowing that it's BS.
You think Cormier is getting the bag? You think Cormier is getting the bag to be like, hey, this guy, he's running away with this fight, and he's a huge favorite?
No, I think they're actually I think they're feeding them these lines, but I don't think the lines would actually be what they are based on the money coming in, or even the actual judging, but based on where they want the money to come in, because they know it's BS. And I know that's always do that.
You think Cormier is getting the bag just to say whatever they want him to say? Is that what you're saying? Are you accusing Cormier of taking a bribe?
Yeah, I think the UFC is taking the bag to do it. So, I think the UFC is getting a lot of money from these sports books, and it's just fishy. There's something weird. Even the lines, the Jake Paul Silva lines. Silva was a big dog, and I talked to you and I was like, dude, this is great, right? Silva's a big dog, and you're like, it's fake. Like, why would? And you made the best point of all of it. You've got Jake Paul, who's a cash cow, hundreds of millions of dollars coming in per pay-per-view. And then you have Silva, who's already world champion, who's doing this kind of for hobby purposes and just extra side money. He's already a world champion. He's already one of the best the sport's ever seen. This doesn't actually tarnish his MMA reputation. So, why wouldn't he take a dive? Why wouldn't he not try to kill Jake Paul? He's already done all he needs to do, and you're going to give him, what, 10, 20, $30 million to do it? More money than he's made his entire career combined to just do an exhibition fight. And you see how graceful he was in his loss. Like, oh, I tried hard. Jake Paul's good. I have money now. It's like he didn't even try to hit him half the fight. And then the judges themselves, when it went into the last round, I was like, ooh, it might be 4-4 based on the scorecards that they were saying and yada yada. And it was like some of those judges had it 6-2. It's just like Silva wasn't winning that fight without a knockout.
And it was crazy. And it was me being an idiot and having lack of internet, but I bought floor tickets for that, right? And ended up taking Vanessa. We ended up going, and she knows everybody, or just as gangsters. So we scooted up. We're basically literally right there on the railing, as close to the ring as you could possibly get, right, for the main event. And watching that fight, we're both sitting there, and I'm like, okay, I think Jake Paul won the first round because Anderson didn't throw a single punch, right? So that one pretty easy to score. But sitting ringside, watching the rest of those rounds in person, live, sitting right there, I honestly thought that Anderson Silva won rounds 2 through 7. Now, it may have looked very different on TV, but what it looked like in person was Jake would throw a couple body shots, and then he would get so panicked, shell up, get put against the ropes, and Anderson was swinging on him, catching him. He was having the way more impactful blows to me. Now, again, it could have looked different on TV, and just like you say this all the time, in the UFC, it looks different in person than it does in TV. In person, it didn't really look that close. I thought it was 6-2 Anderson, and then you have the knockdown, which would make it 5-2 or whatever. I thought it was Anderson easily, like watching it live and being unbiased and having money on Jake. I still thought it was Anderson. I was very impressed with how good Anderson actually looked with his distance, his range management, just his composure in the pocket. and then Jake standing in front of one of the best strikers of all time. And then I got on Twitter and I kind of was seeing what people were saying, and I really couldn't believe the responses, because me watching it live was so different than what I was seeing everybody say online. So maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I need to go back and watch it. But
you need to go back and watch it.
There was no way
it looked like he was almost like he was swinging hard at his shoulders, at his body, at his arms, but not. He wasn't trying to hurt him. And you can carry fighters and make it look good. I don't know. I think everybody who bet money on Anderson should have been paid, and the fix was in, man. The fix was in. Well,
is what it is. It's the dirty games part of it.
It is a dirty freaking game, man. So sometimes you're on the right side, sometimes you're on the wrong side. Well, let's get into this week's fight. We've got quite a few. And this fight, man, this fight.
Do we want to make our announcement now, or do you want to do it later, or what?
Oh, let's do it.
So guys, this will actually be our last show. So this will be our last show. You know, it's been a good run. I think we've hit about a year. We started, I think, in November of last year. And I mean, it's just been a really good run. So we want to, we appreciate all you guys who've joined the journey. The Discord's still going to rock. We're still going to keep this thing going. But as far as podcasting, I think this is the last one.
It's a wrap. It's been good. It's been fun.
Nobody better to end it with than Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos.
The GOAT. Hey, you guys, right. Before we get into this card, check out Betonline.ag, our sponsor. And, go sign up, use code SDMMA and get a 50% deposit bonus. Get that up and going. And, check out the Discord, check out the Patreon, the show notes, links are in the show notes. And then also, I think that's it. Check out, they don't sponsor us, but hopefully at some point they will. Spindrift, these sparkling waters with the real juice in it. Oh my gosh. These are game changing. Dude, these are game changing. I love a sparkle water. These are game changing. They have
Did we not mention LC anymore? Is LC done?
What's LC? Like what? The limoncello. No. All right. So I would mention the limoncello. I have not had it in my house since I found out about these. I haven't had any sparkle water. It's only the pineapple Spindrift and the blood orange Spindrift. They're game changing. They're game changing, people.
Can we get some sponsors in this thing?
For calories. Look, you guys. There's 15 calories. There's how many sugars are in this? 3 sugars. You would think you're drinking like juice or a cocktail or soda. It is unbelievable, people. Spindrift.
Do you want to turn the can so we can see it?
Yes. Here, let me see. It's a glare. There we go. Spindrift sparkling water.
I thought you were saying midriff. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Well, I am saying midriff, but that's separate. The drink is Spindrift. It is unbelievable. And I wish we were getting money from them, but we're not. So go drink that stuff because it's just good.
Who the hell was our manager supposed to be trying to get us all these sponsors and never gave us nothing?
I don't know. Let's fire them all. We need sponsors. We need.
They're all fired on our last
new podcast. Everyone's fired. You're fired.
All right.
All right, you guys. Who do we got? We've got Ramona Pascual and Tamires Vidal kicking off the card. Pascual, we've talked about her on the card before. She's 6-4. We've got Vidal, who's 6-1. I'm going to let you kick this off because I've got some choice words for this fight here in a second.
Well, okay, I understand where you're going, and everybody's kind of on the same page as this. So let's just say like Ramona Pascual is going to be everybody's darling this week. And I understand why. There's 100% complete valid argument, and I see why. So let's kind of pinpoint Vidal first. Vidal, first of all, awful decision-making, right? From the top, pulls heel hooks more than once, very often. Second, and probably the biggest and most important thing is pretty bad cardio. The second there's any sort of fight or grappling exchange or anything, gets exhausted and dog tired. Now, I understand all of this. Pascual is tough. She swings hard. She's fought much better competition. Like, I totally understand all the arguments here for Ramona Pascual. Here's my worry. Okay. This would be a much easier bet for me if Vidal did not beat Martina Jindrova, who's fighting in PFL, who is very, very good. you know, and at the time didn't look so good, right? She was just kind of falling over, and Vidal won fairly easily and even got tired in that fight. But that girl is decent. That girl is a good striker. You know, this bet would be so much easier for me if she didn't win that fight, right? And if she didn't beat Braga, who looked amazing. Braga actually looks like a great, great fighter, and then just kind of fell into a heel hook and lost. Like, this bet would be so much easier for me if she was beating complete cans, and, you know, Ramona's losing, but she's losing to girls who are in the UFC. I still think Ramona's going to win, but the part that worries me here is, you know, we've seen this story before. We've seen a Brazilian with awful tape who comes out and looks world beater. I mean, first one, Natalia Silva, right? That girl was insane and looks world beater, like she could compete for the title. And the second girl was that girl, Lucinda, the girl who had the neck tattoo that fought Yasmin Jaguar, like crazy. That girl's tape was almost as bad as Vidal's tape, and she looked amazing. And Vidal, for all that she lacks, she does swing hard. She does crack girls from time to time, right? She tagged Jindrova on the feet. She tagged Braga on the feet. She does swing hard, and she has some traits that you could like, right? So I understand the bet here is Pascual, right? She's value. She's plus money. I'm going to play it too. I just worry that we have this kind of herd and mob mentality, and we're all going to rush to this bet, and we're going to get let down extremely bad, just like we did with Jasmine Jazz Devicious, or, you know, a lot of these. Or we thought Jaguar was a complete lock, and it ended up being a way closer fight than anticipated. So I think Ramona's got the grappling upside, the decision-making upside, and that is saying something, because she trains at Syndicate, which has the worst decision-making and game plans of all time, and I still give her the edge. Probably in chin and cardio, even probably the striking. I think she's better everywhere. So my pick will be Ramona, but I'm just worried about this herd mentality.
So we've talked about this before. You can only, you guys, so we may be 100% right. We may be 100% wrong. Every capper out there who's doing this, unless you have inside information on Vidal, we can only go off the tape. Like, that's all we can do. And Vidal's tape is atrocious. It is really, really bad. Hey, look, does she throw hard? Yes, but so does everybody. Well, not everybody, but like, what the hell is going on here? Why did they sign this girl? Like, why? That's my issue with this whole fight. Is you have Ramona Pascual, who's 0-2, and you signed another horrible fighter to fight her. So now, like, regardless of who wins, you're stuck with one of these women. You were one fight away of getting rid of Ramona Pascual off of your roster to just never make us watch that again. And now you brought in Vidal, who looks horrible. Maybe she looks amazing, you know, in her fight or whatever. But man, now we have to watch these girls fight, and we're stuck with them. And I'm with you. I think Ramona wins. And I don't even know if I can put money on this. There's another fight on the card later that we talk about it. Don't bet bad fighters. Like, just because Ramona should win doesn't mean that you should bet her, because, gosh, she's bad. I do think she's more athletic. I think she's faster. I think her hands are better. And honestly, more than anything, she just has those big-ass hips, which are hard to get on the mat.
She's got those Dumonts, baby.
Yeah, she's got Dumont hips. And Vidal does not have good wrestling. You know, and so if you just have a girl who just has Dumont hips and somebody who can't wrestle, and she's, you know, just lumbering around, I think Ramona wins it. I think, man. So I'm going to be there this weekend with Mark Madsen. So I'm going to turn the fights on after this fight, because I don't know that I can bear it. I don't know if I can do it. So, all right. I think we're both leaning Ramona, and I think we're both sad about this. Like, I don't even want to. I mean, do you feel dirty for saying, like, Ramona's probably going to win? Like,
I don't at all.
I feel disgusted. I need to shower after this.
Well, you don't have a history with Ramona like I have a history with Ramona. I've put a comma on Ramona before in Invicta and stuff like that. Like, me and Ramona, we go way back. I know Ramona super, super well. She's from Hong Kong, everything. I don't feel gross saying this. This actually reminds me of the Negumereanu when he fought Ihor Pretoria, and Negumereanu was a dog all week, and we're like, yeah, he's just better everywhere and he's got more experience and he's not a complete fraud. And everyone's like, no, Ihor. And then we just were right. And like, that's what I'm seeing on this one, is that Pascual is better everywhere, and she should win. And I don't really feel like dirty saying it. Like, she should win. Like, she should win. She's better. And that's not saying much, but she's better.
It's not even...
She does less mistakes.
No, of course, yeah, she does less mistakes. She is better. She's got a good middle kick. Her striking's not the worst, but just saying that, like, I feel bad, like dirty saying Ramona should win on a betting show. Like, that feels weird to me. It feels weird to me as a human.
But that's the thing that we ignore is just like you can't. Is she gonna? What weight class is she in? 155 or
185? Like, I don't even know.
Is she going to beat Amanda Nunes? No, guys. And we can't compare her to Amanda Nunes. There's a guy in our group, basically our moderator, who does this shit, and it annoys me so badly. Every time we talk about a fighter, he's like, well, if it's like in the 170 weight class, will he beat Usman? And it's like, we're not talking about him versus Usman. We're talking about him and the matchup at hand. So can we please just focus on this matchup at hand? Is Ramona Pascual going to go beat Shevchenko or Nunes right now? No. But can she beat Vidal? Yes. So let's focus on that one. So I don't feel dirty saying it. Like, we're just talking about this matchup at hand. You and I, we only have the tape to go on. We have no inside information, at least on these two. And the tape, what the tape tells us is Pascual is better. Now, could things happen? Of course. But only the matchup at hand. That's how I think we have to go about it. The matchup at hand and the tape is all we got.
Yeah, that's true. All right, you guys, next up, we've got Jake Hadley and Carlos Candelario. Man, we thought Candelario was going to beat Tyra, wear him out. We were wrong. Man, that was that made me sad. Anyway, so Hadley is – I got a bone to pick with Hadley because he got picked up on the Contender Series and he missed weight, all right? And we were told – so that was the same fight that Junior Cortez fought Christian Rodriguez. Rodriguez missed weight. And we were told that if somebody misses weight, they're automatically unavailable. They are not getting a contract. And they gave Hadley a contract, and Christian did not get one. I mean, maybe he didn't get one.
And I thought Christian looked better.
Yeah, and Hadley missed weight and was really kind of an asshat. The whole time up there, like he was giving people a lot of problems. But Jake Hadley is good. He is good. His striking is clean. Good, clean, fast, like aggressive striker. Really good middle kicks. Really good straight punches down the middle. Good fundamentals. His hands are up. I really like a lot about his striking. I would say his weakest point is his wrestling out in the open. He just and his brain. He's insane. But his wrestling out in the open will get him sat down. Like, he does not defend well. On the cage, he defends okay. Out in the open, he does not defend well. We saw that with Nascimento. That said, he uses his jiu-jitsu from his back really well to scramble. Omoplatas, arm bars, triangles. He'll attack a heel hook, not to really get it, but to come up on top. So he either comes up on top or wiggles out. His jiu-jitsu is solid. Candelario on the other side is just tough. He's good everywhere. Good card. I mean, not good everywhere, not phenomenal everywhere. He's serviceable everywhere. Really good cardio. The thing that worries me about Candelario is he waits for the counter. He's waiting and he's waiting and he's waiting. And then he ends up getting hit while he's waiting to hit this perfect counter. But he does return fire well. Almost every time he gets hit, man, that dude is firing back. But I don't think he's a phenomenal out in the open wrestler. I think he's a better cage wrestler, but Hadley's defensive wrestling on the cage is, I think, going to negate that. And I don't think Candelario is going to be able to wrestle out in the open well enough to really get him down. And if he does get him down, I'm not sure that he's going to keep him down. I like Hadley here. I think he's just a little bit better. I think he's better everywhere. And I think he's just a little bit more aggressive. And I just don't know that Candelario is going to be able to put him away. And I think Hadley's going to be able to just score those points and really, kind of pick the pace up on him over here. What do you think?
God, Hadley has all the tools to do it and to be very talented. And you're dead on. His boxing is good when he uses it. That last fight with Nascimento was so frustrating. It was so frustrating because, I watch more Cage Warriors than probably anybody on planet Earth. Like, I am all into Cage Warriors. And the English style lately is like it's like the Leon style, right? It's like, I'm going to be a good striker, and the second they take me down, I'm just going to be up. Forget jiu-jitsu, forget any of that stuff. I'm just going to be really hard to take down, and I'm going to bounce right up even if I do get taken down. And so for Hadley's last performance to be him just playing off his back the entire fight was so frustrating. Like 0 attempts to get up, and then he would show a good glimmer in the beginning of the third round and then be back on his back. And it just was a very frustrating performance. And for a guy who's beaten, I mean, look at who he's beaten so far, right? He beat Zulu, who's an EFC darling and who's very, very good. He beat Blaine O'Driscoll, who's very, very good. He beat Luke Shanks, who's very, very good. And Mitch Raposo, who was the #1 pick on Ultimate Fighter, like a high pick. He's beaten good guys. But he just, like, losing a round to Raposo is kind of unforgivable for Hadley, I think. Now, matchup at hand, man, I just want to say this. I feel like people overrate Hadley, and I think Hadley fights down to the level of his competition, and I think people underrate Candelario. They think Candelario's dog shit, and he's not. Candelario is solid everywhere, and Candelario fights up to his competition. That's what I think. And people are just missing these two. Candelario, skill for skill, is good. He can box. He can wrestle. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got good awareness. He's got decent-ish cardio. Like, he's not bad. That being said, I think Hadley wins. The thing that's really tough, even if Candelario gets him down, one thing that's really taxing on cardio is a guy whose guard won't stop, right? A guy who's constantly attacking arm bars and submissions. And it doesn't always work, but it's very tiring to just defend it, especially if you can't tie him up like Dag style, right? Where you get the handcuff and you just shut him down. When you're constantly having to defend, and then maybe they finally work their way up, and now you got a guy who's gone 5 rounds before with better boxing and is a little bit more active on the feet. That's a tough task for Candelario. Again, I hate the Candelario shade because I think he's better than people will give him credit for. And I don't think Hadley's as good as people give him credit for, but I like Hadley in this matchup. Just activity, boxing, he's got to get back, and just styles wise, I don't think that Candelario has the type of jiu-jitsu to keep and hold you down like Nascimento did, where that guy's very technical, very grippy, very tight. I don't think Candelario's the same way. So I got Hadley.
It's funny you talking about being able to hold people down. We always say jiu-jitsu is dead, right? And we always say, wrestling and cage wrestling is kind of the way to go. Or like submission grappling that you see the Dags doing, kind of the Sambo style, get on top, whatever. But jiu-jitsu top pressure, if jiu-jitsu guys can get the fight to the ground, generally they're doing a better job of controlling than wrestlers because they understand side mount. They understand the guard. They actually understand the mat grappling better. They're just not able to get the fight to the ground as much and then from the back. So you guys, when we say jiu-jitsu, we're talking on our back jiu-jitsu. But yeah, Candelario is more of a wrestling-based grappler who doesn't have that ability. But if Hadley gets on top, if he does get taken down, he throws an omoplata, he's going to come up on top, and then he's either going to start attacking the neck, the back, or be in the guard side mount. I don't think Candelario is getting back up. On the cage, maybe, on the cage, he's going to slide to the cage. He's going to find his way back up. But out in the open, I don't think so. I give that mat grappling to Hadley over there. So it's just interesting to see how this plays out in terms of kind of the grappling style, whereas Hadley's style is very high pressure. Like, it's purple belt jiu-jitsu. He's throwing a million things, 1,000,000 miles an hour.
I love it.
Like crazy. It definitely is fun.
You want the best example of this, guys? And sorry, we're just chatting. We got a little extra time. You're well rested today, and I feel good too. Best example of this for me is Angela Hill when she fought Lupita Godinez versus when she fought Virna Jandiroba. Right? Who's the better wrestler? It's not even a question. Lupi is way better than Virna Jandiroba. But the read in both of those fights was really easy. I think I was on the fence with the Jandiroba fight, but I could see it happen either way. Jandiroba's got way better control. She's going to have a tougher time getting it down, and she did. But once she was there, excellent control. Angie did not get up. Then you watch the Lupi fight. Lupi took her down that one time. Boom. Angie popped right back up. She couldn't hold and she couldn't maintain her. So those two fights are the big difference in what we talk about. And one is not like the other one, and not everybody's good at both. Actually, rarely are people good at both.
Yep. All right, moving along. We've got Johnny Munoz, 11-2 against, Liudvik Sholinian. All right. Where's he from? Ukraine. Oof. Can we even talk about Ukraine anymore? Like, can we talk about Russia or Ukraine? Like, I don't even know. It's like, I don't know. I don't want to get canceled, guys. Don't cancel me. Don't cancel me. I've got enough going on. I can't handle the cancel. 11-2.
You know what? Can you do this one? Because this is the one I didn't tape. I don't know how it slipped me. I would throw something out there that I have no idea about. So if you want to do this one, and then I'll do the next one, we can switch.
Yep, done. Sholinian is 9-2, and the commentators claim that he's some highly touted Russian or Ukrainian wrestler. And holy shit, I don't see it, man. We saw him on The Ultimate Fighter. We saw him against Mitch Raposo, and he finally did get Raposo down, kind of controlled him, but it was not overly impressive. Like, it was not a phenomenal way to get somebody down. And his striking is super basic. It's not like it's, the worst I've ever seen, but it's definitely not something you're going to write home about. You don't wake up, you don't like dream of being a striker like Sholinian. And honestly, you don't dream of being a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu fighter or even an MMA fighter like him either. And I don't mean to be so derogatory, but I don't know how he wins. I don't know. He's tough. He moves forward. He will, kind of shoot, grab a body lock and go. Do you want to take Johnny Munoz down? Like, I don't know that that's the smart play here, but honestly, I think Johnny Munoz is going to take Liudvik down if he wants. He took Nate Maness down multiple times. I thought, watching that back, it's been a while since I watched that fight, but I thought Munoz could have gotten the nod there. He just gassed hard, took him down, took his back, just didn't close him out. And then he took down Munoz. Who was it? Simmons, who was a D3 wrestler, took him down, kind of mauled him right there. His striking is, we've seen it. We saw it with Gravely. Gravely knocked Munoz back to like the netherworld. Like, he killed him. That was beautiful. But I don't see Liudvik being that dangerous standing. And I think Munoz, his jiu-jitsu is great from his back. But honestly, his takedowns and his ability to snatch the back is really where he shines. I like Munoz here. I honestly like him by sub as well. I think Munoz is going to get the sub. And, if you don't like the sub, Munoz money line. But I think Munoz is going to come away with the sub here.
I'm a big Munoz hater. I don't know why. Like, my bias was telling me Liudvik, and I'm with you. Like, it's a hard path to victory for him. I don't know why I'm a Munoz hater. I don't believe him. I just don't believe him. Gravely was an easy one for me. I don't believe Munoz, but we'll see in this matchup. I'm not really sure.
So I'm not an overly Munoz lover. I think Liudvik is really not the one. I really am not overly impressed with him. He lost to Ricky Tercios, who's another guy who I'm not wowed by. And now, I should say he did not get finished by Jack Shore. And that is something. That says something right there. Because Jack Shore is tough. He's finished a lot of people. So, but, there's a weird thing. So Jack Shore takes people down.
Jack just jabbed him for 3 rounds.
Yeah. But see, Jack Shore takes people down and beats them up and then kind of like suffocates them into submission. Like, his jiu-jitsu game, I think, is not as good as Johnny Munoz in a pure jiu-jitsu style. So I think if Munoz gets his back, he is going to rip at that thing, and I think he is going to go all in on it. I think he's going to get the submission here. And like I said, I'm not wild about Munoz. I like him. I think he's tough. I don't think the jiu-jitsu hype is real, but I think he's going to get the job done here.
Should we look up what are the odds?
What are the odds on that?
Sub. So Munoz submission is plus 375 on BetOnline.
Oh my gosh, those are beautiful.
Not
odds.
Enough.
No, they're beautiful odds. Beautiful odds.
Submission round 1, 850. Submission round 2, 1100.
Go for either.
The point spread 115. It's even. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Man, round 1 or round 2. I don't know. I would just do by submission because, it could happen in round 1 when Liudvik shoots, or if Liudvik is not shooting, Munoz could get the takedown in round 1, or he could go for the takedown in round 2. I don't know. I just like him by sub. I like him by money line as well.
Well, if you like him by a finish or like by a sub, that point spread looks nice too. Do you think he could win all 3 rounds if he didn't finish him?
I think so. I think he could.
Well, then you have a minus 115 on the Johnny Munoz point spread on BetOnline. That's a great line. If you think he's going to dominate or you think he can finish, you're getting, break even odds on a guy who's a 2-1 favorite. So there you go.
I like it. All right. Next up, we've got Polyana Viana and Jinyu Frey. Tell us about Jinyu and Viana, which we know well because our girl V fought Jinyu. And did you know that? So we heard her trainer, who was it? Who's the guy from Fortis? Saif tried to get that overturned with the commission. That fight, tried to contest it. It's like, come on, Vanessa won. I mean, it was a close fight. I don't think
it was a close fight. Yeah,
it was a very close fight. I thought Vanessa won it. If they had given it to Jinyu, I mean, I would have been like, she won that, but it wouldn't have been the worst robbery. It's not a robbery. It was a close fight. Whoever won it got the nod. I mean, you don't leave
it depends on how
judges.
You score it.
Close. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was definitely no robbery there. But anyway, so tell us about these two.
Well, what's funny is I actually think that's the best that Jin has ever looked in a fight too. Her range management. This is what really is really impressive with Jin to me. Jin is not excellent anywhere. I think we just kind of talked about that. I can't remember who we just talked about that with. She's not excellent anywhere. She's not the most dynamic striker of all time. She's not crazy high volume. She's not the best wrestler, or best jiu-jitsu person. But Jin does not make mistakes. She doesn't screw up. She doesn't make mistakes. She just is solid. And this is an interesting matchup, I think, because you have somebody who is dynamic, who can finish at any time, who's got really fast punches and fast strikes and crazy submissions against somebody who's not like that, but is slow and steady and wins the race. And now they're going head to head. And so what the tape tells me is Jin by a mile, because the person who's making the least mistakes, honestly, I think Jin is a better striker. She manages her range so well. And it was funny watching the fight with Vanessa. Today was my first day watching that fight. I'd never seen that fight before. I was working when it happened, and then I just haven't watched it since. Jin kept getting hit with these wild overhands. And, part of what beats a technical striker is a striker that just is the least technical. Just somebody who just chucks overhands, because it's hard to anticipate the movement and see what's coming. And V was really impressive in that fight, where she'd kind of feint, set things up, and then throw that casting overhand. And she kept catching Jin really clean, on the jaw, on everything. It was very, very nice. But just from a striking perspective, Jin looked the best I've ever seen. Her punches are straight. She put combinations together. She knows what strikes are efficient and effective for her stance, right? And she's southpaw stance. She's throwing the inside low kick when people are throwing on her. She's throwing her left hand, her straight punch the most. And then she's kind of switching stances and as she, follows up with the combinations. So there's a lot to really like about Jin. The other thing too is one time she tripped Vanessa down, and instead of engaging in the guard, back up. Why do we need to engage her where she's going to be her best? So I have said this about Jin forever, because Jin was a part of my first big win I ever had in gambling, right? And I studied Jin more than I studied anybody else ever. Jin's smart. Her husband is smart, who does the game plans. I think Saif can be smart, even though he's a little bit brash and loud. One thing you can depend on for Jin is IQ. The volume is tough sometimes. The finishing ability is tough sometimes. I like Jin a lot, where Polyana is good, but she's still uncomfortable striking. She'll stand in the pocket and kind of throw crazy for a second, and then she's uncomfortable. And then she says, now what? I'm going to pull guard. I'm going to throw up some crazy submission. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I think I said this on Twitter, but I really like this. I think a Jinyu Frey decision finish is no bet. That was a bet designed for Jin. I don't see her really finishing Polyana Viana, because Polyana will just play guard until she recovers, even if she gets dropped, whatever. I love that. That covers if Jin gets sparked with a quick knockout, if she gets submitted, you get your money back. But I think that's Jin's path to victory is a decision, just not making mistakes, clean decision. I love Jinyu Frey here. I think she's a smarter, more technical fighter. If we're being honest, Polyana's last fight, she fought the one we don't mention. Somebody was telling me, oh, well, Jin's so small. She's 5'3". That other girl is 5'1", not as good of a striker, has almost no semblance of any game planning of anything, and was able to go to the ground where Polyana is the best and survive and be okay. Jin is bigger, stronger, better striker, better fight IQ. I know she's older, but it means less with women. I'm going to go Jin on this one.
Yeah, I like Jin. Just I got to throw something out there, just feather in my own cap. When we were doing film on Jin Yu, the start of camp, we were like, all right, Vanessa, we're going to press. We're throwing, volume, pressing. We're going to the cage. Throwing, volume, pressing. And then somewhere, actually, just a few weeks out of the fight, I was rewatching film on one of somebody we were doing a breakdown on, just for the podcast. And Jin Yu Frey was there. And I was watching. So then I was watching whatever fight it was. I didn't remember. And then I started watching some more Jin Yu tape. And I said, I flipped the script and I said, Vanessa, we are not going to press. Jin Yu Frey loves to counter strike, and she loves to be on her back foot, let people make mistakes, and then she's there to capitalize. And I said, we're not going to do that. We're going to go in there and feint and come in like we're going to throw, and we're inching away. And we're going to feint, and then we're going to inch away. And we're going to force her to do a very low volume fight, and we're going to force her to fight us, and we're going to counter her. And that's exactly what happened. And Vanessa implemented that game plan really well. Feinted, moved away, Jin would swing, and Vanessa would throw big overhands at her.
And land often.
And land a lot. So using that information going into this fight, Jin is a good counter striker. Well, Polyana, even though her striking has been getting a lot better, since her time in the UFC, it's getting better. It's getting more comfortable. She is going to press and she's going to throw. That is actually in a stand-up game. That's actually going to be more comfortable for Jin, in the situation. And what it also does is it doesn't force, if Polyana sits back, that's going to force Jin to move forward, which is going to make Polyana's not going to take her down, but she'll at least be able to shoot and then pull guard or like engage in a clinch and stuff like that a little bit easier. When Polyana actually presses, I don't think she's going to be very effective in her pressing and shooting and trying to get it to the ground. So she's going to press and swing, and I think that is going to allow Jin to keep backing up, circle away from the cage, and counter strike her. But if Polyana really wanted to go, she'd touch her, feint, get her firing, and then she would move away. Exactly. Draw Jin Yu Frey in, and then that is her entrance into either the clinch, pulling guard, whatever she wants.
Hey, Polyana is a big fan of the show. She actually watches this show.
Really well, Polyana. That's your game plan right there. Figure it out. Counter strike, pull her back. Do not press forward. You've got to touch and move away. The other thing, Jin Yu, last time I looked, is she still a dog? Is Jin a dog?
It's about even money now. It's plus 100.
Okay, so she was a little bit more of a dog just a couple of days ago. And I posted a thing on our Patreon or Discord, a kind of an early look at this. I think she's a dog because of the Kay Hansen submission. Did you go back and watch that?
Yes, I actually wanted to talk about that a little bit.
That was a weird submission kind of style. That was from a whizzer kick failed where she jumped up and threw it over the triangle. Yeah.
And just ended up in a shit spot, and that happens, man.
Yes. She ended up in a weird scramble from a whizzer kick, which is not going to happen with Polyana Viana. Polyana is going to pull guard and just go straight jiu-jitsu. I don't know if Jin is going to even allow the jiu-jitsu situation to occur. So I love the Jin by decision.
Let's put it finished equals no bet, and that will be good odds because she is a dog. So let's put it like this. I'm a huge Ronda Rousey fan. I hate that people hate Ronda because she just did so much for not just women, but men too. She brought so many eyes to the sport, made everybody in the world interested in it. It's the reason that these two girls are in here now. Like, I love Ronda Rousey. Who was it she fought? Kat Zingano, and she won that fight in like 14 seconds. Kat Zingano is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. She's got very good grappling. Do you think if they replayed that fight 100 times, that same armbar would ever happen again? She shot in some weird, crazy takedown, and Ronda flipped her legs and ended up and then rolled through and hit that armbar underneath the arm. Ronda can say she practiced that all that she wants. She did not practice that. It's like the Irene Aldana where she threw that up kick to the ribs or to the liver and finished Macy. And they're like, did you practice that in the gym? She's like, absolutely. I practiced it every day. It's like, you're lying. You're lying. And so the Kay Hansen one, that is a submission that we do that we used to call that like the old man triangle, where you like whizzer kick and then you jump up high over the back and you swing up. We call it the old man or the lazy triangle. Polyana's not doing that. No. Kay barely knew how she was going to do that. She's going to go for, try to tie up the arms on the ground. And Jin is so strong and so good and so technical. She's not going to let that happen. She's going to control the hips, pull the arm out. Like, it is so hard to submit somebody off your back in MMA. The fact that Polyana has as many as she does is honestly super impressive to me. But now you're getting an ultra vet, former champion in Invicta, a girl who just doesn't make mistakes, and honestly probably one of the better game planners in the entire UFC. I'll take my chances here with Jin Frey.
Yep, love it. Well, let's move on. We're wasting time. We're burning time. Next up, we have Mario Bautista
tonight.
We are. I love it. Well, we missed a show, and then we had 2 out of 4 weeks without a show. We've got extra words to say. All right, we've got Mario Bautista and Benito Lopez, and I'm gonna keep this one short. This is a no fight. Benito Lopez has been out for 3 years. We have no idea what he's going to look like. We have no idea what he's coming back at. Sit back and just watch this one. I mean, Mario Bautista is legitimately really good. I would assume Mario wins just because he's legitimately really good. That Kelleher submission was phenomenal. His striking is great. His loss was his 2 losses were Trevin Jones, where he was looking great, got too comfortable throwing the same thing again and again and got caught. And then against Corey Sandhagen on a week notice, hey, whatever. Mario is very good. I assume Mario will win. Benito has been out for a long time. 3 years is an eternity. We have no idea what he's going to look like. I don't know why you would throw a lot of money down. It just doesn't make sense to me. We haven't seen enough of Benito anyway. And 3 years is 3 years, man. Mario's probably going to win it. I certainly don't want to risk it. Especially we've seen, you talked about the girls earlier, the film. Oh, the film looks bad. The film looks bad. And they come in looking amazing after a year or 2 off. And, I mean, this could be something. Benito could come in looking amazing after 3 years away or not. But I don't know. I don't want to risk it. I hate taking chances with stuff that I don't know. And I love watching film. I love reading the reads that I see because of film. And other than that, I don't like making reads. So, that I can't actually watch. So that's my thought.
Sorry, I'm not distracted here. I'm not doing other things. I'm looking at Benito's Instagram. I'm looking at Benito's Instagram, and I think this is telling for me, right? I think when Benito was in the UFC, he was at Team Alpha Male. Is that right? In NorCal?
Yep.
And now, a lot is being made about like him being a real estate agent. Guys, come on. It takes 2 weeks to go get your real estate license. Like, man's got to eat. He took 3 years off and probably wasn't getting paid that much to begin with. Like, don't make a big deal about that. Honestly, you want the hard truth is like half the people in the UFC still have jobs. So come on, like, don't make that a big talking point. Don't make that a big play. But that being said, he does have a career outside of fighting. He probably knows he doesn't need to fight. Honestly, why did he even take this fight? It's confusing to me. Was he injured? Maybe you guys can sound off in the comments and let us know what's going on. But either way, he used to be training at Team Alpha Male. The look with Vince Morales honestly wasn't the best look, right? Every time he got crowded with punches, he was shelling up. He was nervous. Like you said, Mario is very, very, very good. I love Mario. There's something about Mario's striking I don't like, but for the most part, he's high volume, high pressure. He's got amazing cardio, maybe a little bit of a button chin, but is Benito the one to expose it? I mean, he's got 2 like knockouts and 1 like TKO-ish corner stoppage, and the rest submissions or decisions. So is Benito the one to do it? I don't think so. First fight in 3 years. As somebody who just took 3 years off, like, there's a lot of nerves that go into it. It's not easy, and you don't fight your best. Like, I wish I could redo that fight. I would submit that guy in 1 round, but 3 years off is a long time. You got to get comfortable again. Whereas Mario's been fighting. So while you're going to sit back and watch this, I'm going to take action on Mario Bautista. I actually think he grapples in this fight, just like he did with Kelleher. I think he's going to put the pressure, grapple, just show how good he is. Again, I don't know the reason for this. I think UFC is trying to build up Mario Bautista. I like me some Mario. That's some home cooking.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Miranda Maverick. Shanna Dobson. Or no, not Shanna Dobson. Ugh, I'm retarded. Shanna Young. That's how bad I am at pronouncing names now. Shanna
Who's
Young
Dobson?
is now
Who's
Shanna Dobson. Isn't Shanna Dobson
in the UFC?
I don't know.
Is that the chick who
Maybe.
beat the crackhead girl?
I think it. I don't know. All right, we've got Miranda Maverick, who you guys have. I've been on the Maverick train. I love me some Miranda Maverick. I'm less in love with Miranda Maverick lately because I feel like she's just gotten a little. Man, so Erin Blanchfield is phenomenal. So I don't want to take it away because Blanchfield was going to win that no matter how Miranda came in looking. She just looked. She couldn't get up off her back, but I don't even know if she really tried. Like she really had a hard time. She was not scooting to the cage, getting up, working up. She's playing in her guard. She's playing in the open waters. Her striking was so loose. Her hands were just like floating. She wasn't narrow. I just didn't like what I saw compared to other fights. Then she fought, Sabina Mazo. And I actually she looked better in that fight. She was narrow. She still doesn't move her head to save her fucking life. I mean, her head is there, but at least she was narrow. She was firing good middle kicks, floating that hand a little bit. And she had a good fight IQ. She took Sabina down just again and again. She got back up, retook her down again and again. And then on the other side, we have Young, who, and these two have fought before, just so you guys know. Miranda Maverick won in first round submission. But I think Shanna Young is better than she was back then. But she is physical. She's just a good, I talked about this on the Patreon. She has the body that a woman should want to be an MMA fighter. She's kind of tall. She has long arms. She's athletic. She's lean. But she just doesn't do anything. Her striking on a technical level is not bad. There just seems like there's zero rhyme or reason to anything that she does at any point. And I mean, she's just kind of throwing stuff. She'll throw that lead side kick. She throws just, a 1-2, which there's nothing wrong with a 1-2. There's nothing wrong with a side kick. It just seems like everything is just kind of at random and that nothing is calculated and that she's not seeing things build as the fight goes on and taking notes and reacting to them. And then that chin is just up in the air again and again and again every time she throws. On top, she does have good top pressure, but her takedowns are non-existent. And we saw I think it was the Granger fight. Mazzani. She only got the takedown there and got the ground and pound because Mazzani's takedowns were so bad that Mazzani was going for takedowns and fell to her back. Shanna got on top and beat her up. I think Miranda Maverick wins this. I think it's going to be a second round submission this time. I think Young is a little bit better than she was last time. If you don't like that, I love, honestly, it could be Maverick by decision, money line. But I think Maverick's going to get the finish. She's lost her last two. She's going to be hungry. She's training at elevation. She's got a lot of girls in her camp now to work with. She's going to maul Young and get the submission.
Last time this matchup was there, I went on my hill for Shanna Young. Same thing as you said. She's gotten so much better. The first time in her life that she's been with a real camp, and I mean I say real in quotations, syndicate. I'm not going to die on the Shanna Young hill. I would prefer not to make a pick on this one. Even in their first fight, right? She rocked Miranda Maverick. She's got kind of a funky, weird style. But at the end of the day, we saw this in the Mazzani fight? No. We saw this in the Stephanie Egger fight, right? Once she's on her back, she's on her back, she's on her back. And that's the biggest problem for me. I really want to say that, she has a chance and she's got decent takedown defense and she's going to outpoint her or rock her on the feet just because, honestly, she might be a trickier striker. I don't want to say better, but maybe trickier striker. And I could see her catching Miranda. But honestly, it's going to take one takedown per round. I don't think Miranda's going to have to work that hard. She's very physical. She's very strong. The price tag is what is going to take me off this one. I really have no interest in this fight. just because she did get rocked in the first fight. Shanna is better. You're right. She is super physical. She's looked better and better and better and kept really composed and calm in the last fight. So for me, the price tag's too much. If I had to choose a winner, I'm going to go Miranda Maverick, but I'm not in love with this play.
Man, I mean, that was a few years ago, 3 years ago that they fought. She clipped her with a 1-2 coming in. It wasn't like some amazing thing. Maverick was coming in, and that was that. I mean, Shayna lost to Egger, who's, grown to be much tougher than we thought. Again, the Mazzani fight, man, she was not, she did not even get a takedown. That was just insane. And then she lost to Macy, who's just long and tall and weird. But Miranda is losing to Macy and Erin Blanchfield. I mean, she beat Jillian Robertson, who we know is solid. That's a solid. I mean, she's beaten Pearl. I can't even think that Shanna Young can win this. So, yeah, that's my thought on it.
Well, that's the kiss of death. Now she's going to win it because you said that.
I know. And it's going to be insane. So, all right. Next up, we have Darrick Minner and, how do you? Shayilan Nuerdanbieke. Is that close?
That's not close, but people are going to miss these pronunciations when we're gone. Shayilan Nuerdanbieke.
Nuerdanbieke?
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to... Okay, so Wu-Tang. We have Darrick Minner and Wu-Tang. Am I up or are you up? Who's up? I don't even know what the hell is going on here.
I think it would be... Oh, no, it's me. It's me on this one. Okay. Let's take a look at this one. So there's a couple concerns.
Hold on. We got to stop this. You don't have children, but I do. And last night was Halloween. And my son, Lennox, not Enzo. Enzo's not giving up anything. I came over here to my desk, and there's a mountain of candy. A mountain of candy. And I ate all of it. So he comes over here before he goes to bed, and he sees that, there's just a mountain of candy wrappers. And so then he comes over and brings me more candy. So anyway, before we get moving on, what is your favorite Halloween candy?
What classifies as Halloween candy?
honestly, it could be any candy,
Twix?
but they give out Twix, they give out York,
like
they give
Twix.
out, really, that's your one. So
if somebody says York, what the fuck is wrong with them? York. Those are nasty. Oh my God. You are the whitest man alive. Has anyone told you this lately?
I know I'm white, and I know I'm the whitest. Anyway, I'm going to eat this because it's a York peppermint patty. Do you like Junior Mints?
Don't eat on the podcast, or Panda 9473699 will stop watching this immediately.
He goes, dude, eating on the podcast. I'm out. I'm out of here. I'm going.
We're gonna miss you.
A York peppermint patty. Okay. I was hoping it wasn't melted because honestly, half the stuff Lennox gives me is all melted, but this one's not. But anyway.
He's putting it in his armpits before he gives it to you.
Yeah.
Hey, can you actually eat this into the microphone? This could be double as an ASMR kind of.
Hold on. I don't even know. I don't even know what ASMR is or the point of it, but this is
York. You got to crunch the wrapper into the mic.
Hold on. I've got to say that they're very similar, but I like Junior Mints better than a York peppermint patty by far, by a long shot. But anyway, give us your thoughts on Wu-Tang and Darrick Minner as I eat my York peppermint patty. And Panda 29999 is going to cancel his his subscription, his watch to the show. So see ya.
Sorry. See you later. Your hate for Darrick Minner is hilarious to me. And we have not talked about this one. We've not talked about anything on the card. And I can only imagine you're not going to pick Darrick Minner because you have a weird hate for Darrick Minner. Somewhere up there with the Kyle Bochniak hate, I feel like. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, but it's up there. The GOAT. Bochniak. We haven't talked about him in a long time. I miss him. I struggle to see what a Darrick Minner win looks like outside of a first round submission. Now, is that possible? 100%. I mean, the thing about, And the other question I have too, guys, if you guys could please let me know this, is Darrick Minner still with Kraus? Is he still, or maybe you know this, is he still with Glory?
Oh, I don't know. Let me.
I haven't seen any recent training pictures there.
Keep talking, and I'll
you can let us know. But he fought TJ Brown last time, and TJ Brown I think is a much better striker than Darrick Minner is. I think he's got more in the gas tank than Darrick Minner does, and I think his jiu-jitsu is pretty solid in its own right. He did catch Wu-Tang in a few different things, right? He put Wu-Tang in a few different submissions. He got a Kimura at the end of the round. He got a couple triangles. He got a few things. And that makes it very dangerous fighting a guy like Darrick Minner, right? You don't want to let yourself get too deep in these things. But honestly, I just think he's too big, too strong, too good of a wrestler, and throws too big of overhands to really get caught, right? You have that 3 minutes of fury with Darrick Minner, and after that, I mean, we see him fall off a cliff. Ryan Hall gave him the exact fight that he needed and got a decision. It was just pretty much a grappling fest and honestly kind of fun to watch. But I struggle to see what a Darrick Minner win looks like outside of a first round submission, right? Something like crazy. At this point, he's 26-13. He's 32 years old. He's not evolving every time. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Like, what new progressions are we seeing that we haven't before? Did he get some miraculous cardio in the last little bit? Like, Wu-Tang beat Sean Soriano, who I rate very, very highly. Same kind of guy, right? He's got great striking, but he's got about a round of gas and looked good for a round. I struggle to see where Darrick Minner wins this outside, again, of a first-round submission. I think Shayilan has shown a few times over that he's just been solid, man. He's been game. He's been in there, throws overhands, doesn't make a ton of mistakes, fights for top position. Even if he loses a round, he usually does enough to win the next one. So I like Wu-Tang here.
Yeah, so I'm looking on Instagram, and I don't see anything either of where he's at. I actually would like him a lot better if he were at Kraus, because he's always been submission or bust. But with Kraus, he's actually had a little bit better cardio. I mean, he fought Grant Dawson, and it was one round of fury, and then Dawson was like, "All right, I'm doing this." But then, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Darren Elkins. He went he went 3 rounds with Ryan Hall and didn't get submitted, and he went 3 rounds with Rosa and won. And Rosa has good cardio and a scramby little bugger. So you're right, though. I don't know what it is about Darrick Minner that bothers me, but
it's personal. I don't get it.
It's 100% personal. This dude, no. One of it is, it's a guy who throws so much into those submissions, and that's all he has. It's just submission or bust. Like, that's it. It's just, I don't like it as a better. It's just something, I don't know. On this one, I think Darrick is going to get the submission. TJ Brown had Wu-Tang in a triangle and a guillotine and all of these somewhat tight submissions. Darrick Minner had Elkins in these submissions and was coming up on top of Elkins and taking Elkins down and scrambling on top of him, throwing heat. He had Grant Dawson in these really, really, really tight submissions. And those dudes are just that good to where they were. Elkins, I mean, that dude is just come on, as game as they come. He's hard to finish always. Grant Dawson is a really high-level top guy. Ryan Hall, of course, is Ryan Hall. Charles Rosa is hard to finish. You know what I mean? And then you have Wu-Tang on the other side of this. He's 37-10, all right? He's got losses for days. Zongrula knocked him out. He was submitted by triangle by Alison Barbosa just a few years ago.
That's a Brazilian, obviously, so that's no loss there.
He was body kicked. He was rear naked choked by Ruslan Amilabek. I mean, who's good? He's not some – I don't know. I like Shayilan.
I think this is an avoid. I don't like this fight.
Yeah, I like Shayilan. I think he's tough. I think his wrestling is not as good as people think it is. I thought TJ Brown could have won that fight if he didn't pull so many subs and kind of got up. That was just, we talked about that. TJ Brown is so talented, and we thought he's had some good performances. When those two fought, we were like, man, TJ Brown's going to get the upset because He just is. He's got a lot to like. He's just an idiot when it comes time to actually fighting. Just did dumb stuff. So I think that was TJ Brown losing that fight more than it was Shayilan winning that fight. I think Darrick Minner is going to find a neck early, and I think he's going to get a submission just like he did on TJ Laramie before the fight really gets going. I think it's crazy, but I like Minner here. Again, now him not being at Krause's, I don't know how his cardio is, so I like that slightly less if he's not, because I think Krause is kind of no nonsense, like get your ass in the gym, let's train your balls off, at least you're going to be in shape. I like Minner here. I think he's going to get the upset. I think he's going to get the submission win.
I could definitely see a world in which that happens, and this is not a fight for me. I don't like this fight on either side.
Yeah. All right, next up. Oh, we've got Marco.
We're only
Madsen.
like halfway through this card.
I know we got to fly through these because this one we're not going to talk about anyway. I never talk about our guys. Marco Madsen, Grant Dawson. Mark was supposed to fight Drakkar close. Drakkar pulled out. I believe he has an ACL injury. Good luck to him getting better, even though he talked a lot of shit. I wish him nothing but the best. Hope him and his family are good, and that's that. Grant Dawson is tough. Great fighter. Glad he stepped up. Marco Madsen is the single strongest human I have ever touched in my life. I cannot even, I have trained with everyone on the planet. I cannot even explain how freakishly strong this guy is and how you're not able to move him anywhere ever. It's amazing. Super great guy, super nice guy. Really good, moved his entire family from Denmark to Arizona, spent a lot of money. His entire house was burned down and then was redone and then had mold and had to completely be demolished and rebuilt as his wife is very sick. She's dealing with an illness. I'm not going to get into it, but man, he's just a solid guy. He's got a very hard life. And he does everything that he can, and you just love the guy. So that's all I'm going to say on that. Love Mark Madsen. Grant Dawson, good luck. Glad you took the fight. And, I'll be up there cornering him this week. Next up,
sorry,
what's that?
Wait, hold on. Someone showed me the video of him going to the hospital to fight Drakkar. Oh, my God. That was hilarious. If you guys haven't seen it on Captain Alberison's Instagram, he posts the video exchange back and forth where Drakkar's like, come see me, Mark, you little bitch. And then Mark shows up to the hospital and is like, where are you at? Where are you at? Hilarious. So if you guys haven't seen that, go to Captain Alberison's thing. Go watch that. It was stories they posted back and forth.
So if you haven't actually seen that, so I have some information about that.
Okay.
Drakkar, after the surgery, I think he might have still been medicated up, was like, Mark Madsen, where are you at? Send location. Come up, blah, blah, blah. So Mark actually went to the hospital, did not just drive around. He actually went into the hospital and checked to see what room he was in. And he actually went to the ICU. He went to different units, and they did not have him listed in the hospital. I think he'd already been actually released. I don't think Mark knew that he was actually released from the hospital. But no, he didn't just drive up. That wasn't for show. He actually went into the hospital and checked with all of the different ledgers to see where he was. So there's that.
Oh, Mark's about it.
Mark's about it.
All right. What do we got next?
All right. Tagir Ulanbekov against Nate Maness.
You want me to go on this one?
Yeah, go on this one.
Let's say this first. Okay, guys. You and I have talked about size of flyweights. It's been a topic recently because I feel like I'm a hardy flyweight. I'm a pretty big flyweight. I'm 5'7". I'm filled out. I got a wide SpongeBob body. We just got a kid at our gym who's 5'10", who makes flyweight, and he's a big flyweight. We talked about that.
Yeah.
This new kid that we have who's 5'10" doesn't look anything like Nate Maness. Nate Maness makes this kid look tiny, and they're the same height. I don't know. The bald guy, if you guys know the bald guy who does the other podcast, the bald guy from Georgia, he said that Nate's going to make weight no problem. But I don't understand how. Just physics and mechanics and cutting weight myself and knowing how the body works and just looking at me and then looking at Nate, I don't understand how he's going to make the weight. It's confusing to me. And maybe it doesn't matter. Talking about the pure matchup, we just kind of saw this. Now, I will say I don't think Usman and Tagir are in 10 planets of each other in terms of wrestling ability. I think Tagir is the run to the litter, obviously, but I don't think his wrestling is near the level of any of the other guys. If you watch a lot of the wrestling that he does, he works with trips and he works with body locks a lot more than the other guys who will hang on the legs and work the cage wrestling and drag guys down. He's very dependent on his body and his style. Now, against Nate Maness, Nate's the same height as him. He's just as tall, just as big, which makes those trips and body locks so much harder, right? It's so much easier to do that on a guy who's 5'4". You lock your hands, you take him down, as it is a guy who's 5'10". Now, that being said, I think that weight cut is going to be drastic for Nate. Like, Nate looked like a big bantamweight. Now he's going to go down to flyweight against Tagir, who I don't think pushes the most insane pace, but I think he'll be able to get Nate down. And once he gets Nate down, we just saw what happened in Nate's last fight where he didn't get back up. He got that Dagestani pressure. I think Tagir scrambles well enough. He fights hard enough. He's got a good enough jab to survive. I don't want to overthink this one. I like Tagir here. It's hard to trust that guy after the last one. I thought he beat Tim Elliott, but lost nonetheless. I think the weight cut's too big of a factor. I think the wrestling is going to be too big of a factor. I got Tagir here.
Why is Nate Maness dropping weight? Like, I don't get it. He's
fine
a
at
big
35.
He's a big dude. Why would you do that? I don't get it. He beat Luke Sanders at a catchweight. I think they did a catchweight of 140. And Luke's a big 35. I mean, short. He's like, 3 feet tall, but he is as wide as a house and as strong as anybody ever. And that broke my heart, man. Luke is a sweetheart of a human. I love that guy to pieces. I thought it was almost like Hunter Azure with Brian Kelleher. I thought he won every second of the fight until he lost. And I think Luke Sanders was doing the same thing. And he just threw a hook and just didn't reset and was just lazy and just slipped for a minute and got clipped. Man. And Nate Maness jumped on it. And he jumped on Tony Gravely as well. And we saw, of course, him with Umar. Umar took him down a lot out in the open with ease. Nate Maness's cage takedown defense is decent, and his leg trip takedown is actually decent. He's not a great defensive wrestler out in the open, and he's a tough guy. We saw him; his jiu-jitsu is serviceable, but he didn't really have anything for Umar, and not a lot of people do. You said it; these two dags are not, these two dag beards are not woven from the same freaking cloth. But Tagir is decent. He is good. I mean, he was fighting Tim Elliott that I thought he did win. And Elliott is weird. Elliott is funky. Dude, a lot of people, it's like we talk about Bobby Green all the time. Like, how do you look good going against Bobby Green? Win, lose, or draw. That's just a hard fight. Tim Elliott is the same way. I think Tagir, after that Elliott fight, will probably have gotten the 10th degree from Khabib. And was probably really working on his wrestling, really working a lot. The biggest thing is Tagir's striking. It's clean. Maness got clipped and then caught Gravely because Gravely was just coming in to swing for the fences and got sloppy. He did the same thing with Luke. He's very hittable. He is very tough. He does hit hard. How much power does he have at 25? How good is his chin at 25? I don't know. But I think Tagir's technical striking is going to get the job done here. And I don't even know if wrestling needs to play a part of it. I think if it does, I think Tagir will win the wrestling department. But I think just a technical striking, kind of a boring matchup. Not boring matchup, but a low pace, low volume, low output fight that Tagir wins.
What if Tagir finishes him? What if Nate gets chinned? This weight cut is a big deal. I'm just so concerned for it.
No, that's true. With that weight cut, he could get chinned. You guys, it's a bad idea to go down and weight. Go lift weights. Lift weights and get strong and be stronger at your weight instead of trying to go down at weight. It's generally not the answer. If you are too weak at your current weight class, you're too weak at the lighter weight class. Lift weights, people. Drink milk. Get strong. Do steroids. Swole Patrol. All right, next up we've got Josh Parisian and freaking Chase Sherman. How did this hit the main card? Chase Sherman was cut. He was cut, and then they dragged him back in because they needed somebody. Parisian, he's lost to Parker Porter, lost to Dontel Mays, beat Roque Martinez and Alan Boudreaux. Chase Sherman. Romanov, Collier, Parker, Olavsky, 4 in a row. He beat Jared Vanderey in a fight that, man, we're like scratching our heads at why Vanderey didn't shoot a single time. Oh, Chase Sherman. So Chase Sherman's striking is actually not bad. And it looked good against Vanderey. He looked fast against Vanderey. He's actually over at Sanford MMA now. And I don't think that's going to make his wrestling amazing or his jiu-jitsu amazing right off the bat in the amount of time given, but it's going to give him better training partners. He's going to have better people to go with on a regular basis. He was at a small gym in Mississippi, probably did not have a lot of big guys, so he didn't really know how to fight big guys. I think he's probably going to look a lot better. Parisian he's got a decent top game, and he looks good on top, and he knows what he's doing on top. But, dude, he is slow and clunky, and his takedowns are not – now, his takedowns are not amazing, but Chase Sherman's takedown defense is not amazing. And this really comes down to, does Parisian shoot, and can he get Chase Sherman down? Because he's actually decent on top, Parisian is. And I think if he gets on top of Chase Sherman, I think that could be Rhapsody Daisies. I don't know if he can get on top, and he might – kind of strike for a little bit too long, and Chase Sherman's fast enough. I have to lean with Chase Sherman just being with Sanford now and assuming he's going to look better, because he did look better in his last fight. His striking looked actually pretty good. I got to go with him on nothing more than he is now over it. Look at how good Gerald Mearshart looked in his last fight from going to Sanford. And
Kill Cliff now, but...
Oh, yeah, that's true. Kill Cliff. And I don't mean this from the coaching, because I love the coaching. I love Greg Jones. I love Henry Hooft. But Mearshart was at Rufus, did not have a single training partner there to work with at a high level. So regardless of the coaching, regardless of everything, you're not going to get good work. So he goes to Sanford. Forget about coaching. Mearshart is a vet, knows what he's doing. But now he has really, really, really good guys to train with every day. So he's going to be good. I think Chase Sherman with that alone is probably, I'm leaning that way. I don't know if I could put money behind this at all, because these are two very unreliable, bad fighters based on the betting Bible. But I lean Chase Sherman in this.
I'm with you 1,000%. So this is like the first time I think that Chase Sherman is fighting like an actual fat guy. Like what's his name? Romanowski. What's the Russian's name?
Yeah.
The guy that gets tired? Romanov.
Yeah, Romanov. Oh, I love me some Romanov.
He's got big belly, but he moves like he's not got big belly. He moves like crazy.
He's Chris Farley. He's Beverly Hills Ninja. Yeah, he's Chris Farley.
He's fat guy, but like not fat guy. And he's been getting skinnier and doing a lot of steroids. So he looks much better. Who was the other guy that he lost to? Collier, who was formerly middleweight, added on weight, still moves like a middleweight, but he's fat now. So he's like not really a fat guy, right? So Chase Sherman keeps losing to these guys that are like pseudo fat guys, but Josh Parisian, actual fat guy, like Ford Tough, like actual fat guy. Now I will say, I thought Parisian.
Oh, we got to back up. That's my comment of the week right there. Ford Tough, fat guy.
Somebody in our group said he's tough like Ford leather or something like I couldn't remember what he said. He's just like hilarious because he was getting his ass beat against Bautista and then came back and ended up winning, and it was super dramatic. I had Bautista. I thought Bautista was going to win. Parisian's not as horrible as like. Every time I tape a Parisian fight, I always think he's so awful and has no cardio at all. But he like surprisingly like kind of moves his head decent and like
he's tough.
Fights hard. He's tough and he fights hard for like periods of time. And then he'll still throw 5 spinning back fists in a row. But I like Chase Sherman here. I think Chase Sherman just moves so much better. I mean, how many times can he let us down by just getting tipped over and submitted? Like, it can't happen again, can it? And the biggest reason I have to go Chase Sherman here, that's my bare knuckle fighting championship brother. I always have to support my BKFC brethren. Okay. So I like Chase. I think he's fought more high-level guys. I think he moves just a lot better. He's a lot more dynamic, and he keeps it simple, stupid. That's Henry Hoof's motto for everything that he does. Keep it simple, stupid. Been working with Henry a lot. I like me some Chase Sherman in this particular matchup.
All right. Yeah. So we've got a co-main event next up. We've got Neil Magny, 26-9 against D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. All right, let's hear your thoughts. 17-2, 26-9, D-Rod, Neil Magny.
Well, I love me some D-Rod sometimes. I like D-Rod, I think, in this matchup, only because Neil Magny just looks so slow to me. I don't know what image I used to have in my mind where Neil just had this super sharp and crisp jab, and he just like looked excellent, was like this massive, massive volume, but really, he's not getting a lot of takedowns on a lot of people, right? He's getting like one a fight, except for the fight with Robbie Lawler. His jab just looks incredibly slow. And we know jab's not even the best punch when you're fighting a southpaw anyways, right? It's going to be that right hand or the left hand if you're southpaw. I think D-Rod's just more comfortable. I think D-Rod's more game, and I think D-Rod will take the fight to Neil Magny. His takedown defense isn't perfect, but a lot of times he's getting taken down with hard blast doubles, not necessarily body locks. He's pretty good at defending in the clinch, moving off the cage. A lot of these money lines are hard to choose. A lot of these are kind of closely lined fights. I like D-Rod in this matchup. I think he's more game. He's just looked better as of late. I think he's more into it and trying to really make a name for himself. So I like D-Rod here.
Man, I love D-Rod. He has really good boxing. His technical boxing, you could tell he actually boxed versus MMA boxed. And man, if you guys out there don't know it, like, gosh, just go to a freaking boxing gym and watch the training compared to going to a kickboxing gym or a MMA gym. And you will see that boxers are hitting bags. There's tape on the ground. They're working angles in front of a mirror for hours on end. And then they get a little mitt work in their sparring. I love it. The technical boxers who've actually boxed, you can tell. Throws his jab, slightly angles off as the jab recoils, which is how you should throw a jab versus throwing a jab coming back center and then stepping left or right. You should be throwing a jab, and then kind of as you correct your stance coming back from that jab, you should be slightly offline. So if somebody fires right down the middle, you're already out of the way, and then you can either return fire or reset. But D-Rod does that really well. Jabs, pulls people in, fires his two. But he has like dinosaur bones, man. That dude hits hard. Doesn't even look like he's trying to hit hard. He just hits hard. You could just tell he hits hard. And then on the other side, I'm with you about Magny. Gosh, in my head, Magny was amazing. And then I'm watching him, and gosh, he is so weird and clunky, and that jab is not there anymore. And he has this weird, hell, even his hair is weird, but he almost kind of reminds me of like Miranda Maverick, this kind of wide stance. Like he has pom-poms in his freaking hands versus like actually fighting and throwing and doing stuff. It's just weird. I don't know what happened to his striking. I want to love D-Rod here, and I could really see D-Rod getting the decision or even finishing Magny, but I think Magny's volume is just going to be weird. And I think his wrestling, I think he's going to feel the power of D-Rod, and he is going to shoot a lot more than he has lately. And I think we're going to see a Robbie Lawler situation here. I think he's going to shoot. I think he's going to push him on the fence. He is good in the clinch. He's good with his knees. He's good with a body lock, scooping that leg. I think I lean Neil Magny here, and I don't want to because I really want D-Rod to win. I like him. I'm not a Neil Magny hater. I really think he's very skilled. I just am not in love with his striking lately, and he's just getting a little older, and he's just not who he was a few years ago. So I think he is going to win this fight, though. And it pains me. It makes me sad. But I think he's going to win probably a very close decision that is just predicated upon pushing to the cage, hanging, getting a couple leg reaps, sliding around to the back, and just kind of being there for longer than he's getting punched and hurt.
I can never choose against D-Rod just because I think he's maybe the coolest guy on earth. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, we got tickets to the Oliveira and Gaethje fight, like when it was here in Phoenix. And, you know, I'm sitting in the fighter section with V and Gabe and all, you know, or Camuela and all these people. And D-Rod's just sitting by himself. And like, I'm just like looking, usually people would be like embarrassed to be by themselves. Like D-Rod is just the coolest man on earth. I'm like, I want to sit with him and chat him, but I'm like, I'm not cool enough to be around this guy. He's like on his own thing. Like he just knows. I love D-Rod. Can't choose against him.
Yeah, I like D-Rod. I like his style. Kevin Lee is a phenomenal wrestler, but his MMA wrestling leaves a lot, and he just took D-Rod down at will when he was fresh. We know Kevin Lee fades out hard. And D-Rod really didn't. I mean, he attacked a Kimura, got on top. I just don't know that Magny's jiu-jitsu is too good, so if he does get him down, I don't think he's going to sweep him like that. I think he's just going to hang on him. This is a close fight. I could see D-Rod moving away and throwing and landing enough meaningful punches to hurt him. And we saw him get hurt against Max Payne kind of the same way. Max Payne sliding out, throws that right hand, or, you know, I think Max Payne's orthodox, fired his rear hand at him, kind of wobbled him. But that was really it. Yeah, pains me. I don't want to say it. I think Neil Magny wins a boring and frustrating decision.
All right, I think that's leading us to the last fight we're ever going to break down on the podcast. It's going to be Marina Rodriguez versus.
What are you going to do when the podcast is done?
I already have plans. I'm moving to Argentina.
How are you going to fund this move?
Well, if you guys want to also buy a house in the compound in Argentina, this podcast drops on Wednesday. Okay. On Friday, we have Cage Warriors. And then on Saturday, we have the UFC and Bare Knuckle. I'm going to fund it entirely based on the wagers that I make this weekend. So if you guys want to be a part of that and my Argentinian farm, I would recommend sign up for the Patreon, the Discord. Who knows when any of this is going to come to an end? You know, we're all just spinning on the hamster wheel of life. And what does life really mean? You know, so everybody hop on Patreon, Discord. It's beginning of the month. Actually, you changed the settings, but it's beginning of the month. It's $25, and then we'll get you a nice little farm in Argentina as well. This is.
What'd you make on the last BKFC?
I think I made 50,000.
Okay,
I made 15. I lost like 5, and then I made 44 and 50 on Bare Knuckle. So it's very nice.
There you have it, folks. Fund your Argentinian getaway this weekend with BKFC. It's $25 a month. That's 20. You guys are out there in the comments. I want somebody to do the math. We'll say even 50,000. What is the rate of return on $25 to 50,000? I don't know, but it's probably
it's hard
a lot.
too. You got to put up your own money as well. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's $25 a month. You guys are being cheap. Like, so many people sell shit stuff for $100 a month or $25 a card. Like, we talk about this all the time. We got nothing to really sell you guys. We price this low enough where we don't feel like we're doing this rug pull or like this big scam. It's $25 a month. You get good info. You get good chats. A lot of smart people. Lots of money. We priced it low enough where we don't have to feel responsible every waking second to be here with you guys, but we give you guys plenty where you guys can do what you need to do. So it's a great place to be. And who knows, this might be the last week. I say when I hit it big, I'm retiring. I'm done. I'm out. Like, it's stressful for me, you know?
All right, you guys, we've got Marina Rodriguez and Amanda Lemos. Now, let me say, this is a hard one for me to break down because I know you love her. Amanda Lemos. I love her. She is absolutely my favorite women's fighter. I say it every time. Every time we've broken this down, I love her. Her striking, she's so much hate in her heart. I need to have a conversation with her. We need to get her on the podcast. I need to ask her what happened in life.
We'll never have another Brazilian woman on the podcast ever again, okay?
The Brazilians are dead. So, no, but I need to ask her, like, what happened in life that made her have so much hate? Because
the haircut. She has to look in the mirror every day and see that. And she says, somebody's got to pay for this.
And with every punch, she tries to make people pay. But honestly, like, you guys, I'm sure I mentioned this, all right? So if I do I mention Lucia Riker every time I talk about Amanda Lemos?
Yes, you do. Actually, I don't even know who that is, and I know you've mentioned it.
Like, you guys, like, there's a documentary, I think it's called Shadow Boxers, and it documents Lucia Riker, and there's all these other women boxers and stuff. But you see all of these women, and they hit like girls, and they hit like women. Then you see Lucia Riker hit, and you're like, that is a man. Like, she is punching like a man. And Lucia Riker is the girl who is the bad guy, you know, antagonist in the $1 Million Baby. So she's like the one at the end who she plays that character. But in real life, she was phenomenal. She's a phenomenal kickboxer. She's a Dutch woman. But man, that was it. And then now I see Amanda Lemos, and I see the way that she punches and fights and throws, and I love it. She throws like an athlete, not a woman. It's amazing. Her takedown defense is non-existent. You know, but she's kind of serviceable on the ground and will move. But Marina Rodriguez isn't, you know, going to go shooting for takedown after takedown after takedown. And we've seen Lemos have a hard time with the Fraggle Rock. Who was it? Angie Hill. With the spazziness and the weirdness and that style. She won, but that was a really close fight. And I mean, it's like fighting Tim Elliott, all right? And then, of course, she had a hard time with Andrade, who's really awkward and weird and this and that. Marina Rodriguez isn't like that. She's in your face throwing, lots of volume, lots of jabs, good defense, good takedown defense, but that's not going to play much here. I don't think. But Amanda Lemos will jump to a guillotine. She'll throw. She tries to win. I like her desire to win. My brain tells me Marina Rodriguez is going to touch Lemos up for 25 minutes. But then it also tells me Marina is there. She doesn't have power. She's going to stand close enough right in front that Lemos can land some good shots. With women, generally, you have to go on the side of cardio and volume, and both of those things are in Marina's wheelhouse. I lean Marina Rodriguez here by decision. Oh my God. But I feel like there's some hope in my heart that Lemos can win. And Lemos can win. I mean, she stays, she can throw in the pocket and land some good shots. Worry Marina. Marina does not hit hard. She doesn't throw. She's not scary. Lemos isn't going to be scared of her. Marina does not move around as much. She's kind of in your face. So there's that, which plays into Lemos's game. She's taller. She's ranger. She has more volume. I lean Marina here, and my heart, it hurts because of it.
I thought the exact same thing that you thought, right? Honestly, a lot of the things that makes Lemos tired is like the grappling, like the pushing against the cage, the takedowns, so just making her work. But the fight that she really wants is a striking fight, right? It's a boxing match. It's something like that. Well, who's better to give her a boxing match than Marina Rodriguez? And I thought the same thing as you, is like Marina, to win this fight, has to be here. She has to be here. And then it's who hits harder, who's got the quicker hands. And Marina's got very fast hands, but Lemos hits like a truck. And that could discourage Marina from coming in. And what I'm worried about is now you see the girl who was once the volume striker get hit with a couple punches, and now she's picking her shots and she's more hesitant to come in. And now you have somebody that's got the ring generalship, who's going to control the center, and she's throwing bombs. You guys want honest truth. For me, this fight is a pass for me only because of the styles, right? If Marina had any grappling upside and was taking girls down and controlling them, perfect. Lemos makes a lot of mistakes. I guess it's not really a mistake if she won the fight, but she's pulling guard and jumping guillotines and getting taken down super easy. But right now, the way that I'm seeing this is we have two opposing forces. They're equal and opposite, right? One's power and precision. The other one is speed and volume. And who comes out on top? Well, you have a betting line where one's a 2-1 favorite, one's a 2-1 dog. So, man, Lemos is super tempting as an underdog. She really is. I think you're right. I think you have to mind volume and cardio, which obviously both are going to be on the side of Marina. She's shown she can go 5 hard rounds. She is little thug nasty. She's gangster as hell. This is a really tough one to pick. I would lean Marina. I'm going to pick Marina. But again, I wouldn't be surprised to see Lemos put her to sleep. I would actually probably go Marina decision. The finish is no bet. I think that would probably be a good one and cover your bases there. Just from the styles.
I think you're right there. Marina decision, finish no bet. Yeah, you have to lean Marina because the volume, the cardio, the experience. But Lemos can win this fight. So, I mean, if you guys like, there's play on both sides of this. The difference, though, is that now that people know, if this fight were to occur when Lemos first dropped and came back, she's going to knock Rodriguez out just like easily. It's going to happen because people just don't know. But now that they know Lemos has that power, they're not going to stand and trade and go and do all of that same stuff. Like the cat's out of the bag with Lemos. So I think it's going to be a little bit harder. Gosh, I hope she wins. I really like her. But it would not surprise me to see Marina get the close split decision here.
All right. I think that does it. We got anything else to add to this? We got any last words?
No. I'll write you.
Do you want to sell the memoir one more time?
Oh yeah, you guys buy my memoir. That's it. That's pretty much the sale. Actually, I got a request. If you guys have bought the memoir, review it on Amazon for me if you could. Oh. That could help out. That's it. We have to think of a big Discord rug pull. One thing that's been super interesting. My time in this whole Twitter capper gambling crazy space, everybody's got like a little scam that they run at some point. Like they ask somebody for money, they don't pay them back, and they keep it and whatever. Oh,
and
really?
This happens all the time.
We got to come up with a good scam. We haven't scammed.
So if you guys can think of a good rug pull that we can do for the Discord members, we got 250, probably almost 300 Discord members, and we're figuring out a way to rug pull them. I can't figure it out yet. I'm too busy to run a contest. You're too busy to run a contest. So if there's some way we can just, the last podcast, the last Discord, and we can run off with our Argentinian farm.
Into the sunset.
Please drop it in the comments. Into the sunset. Man, think of an idea, curious. Put it in the comments.
Come up with a good Ponzi scheme for us. We need a good Ponzi scheme.
A good Ponzi scheme. Guys, I will sell you these Peter Yan cards for a one-time deposit of $3,000 a piece. That's the one. As an NFT. Right.
As an NFT that gives you residual income forever.
Hey, our last pod as an NFT. There we go.
As an NFT. All right, you guys. Have fun. Happy betting. We'll see you on the Discord.
Thanks, guys.